Hello, my fellow World of Tanks Modern Armor players. For those of you who don't know, an announcement was made on Discord at the beginning of this week, which I'm sure has been slowly percolating through the social medias and streaming services. And that announcement, because I can't show it on screen because I don't have that set up, but I will read it to you so you can understand why so much speculation is surrounding this announcement. Dear Modern Armor players, we would like to start by thanking you for your continued support of our Modern Armor throughout its 12-plus year history. As we continue into our 13th year of live service, we now enter our next chapter. Over the upcoming 12 months, we will transition to the development and service of Modern Armor from our Chicago team to our internal studios in Europe. Many of our familiar team members will remain involved throughout this process. We're committed to a seamless transition. Everything planned for 2026 stays on track. All content, features, and regular updates remain in place. See our previous roadmap announcement. We believe this will create new possibilities for Modern Armor and for our players in 2027 and beyond. We will have more to share at Tankfest in June. Modern Armor has an extraordinary history, and we are proud of this team and everything they've built since before launch in 2014. What comes next builds on that solid foundation. Sincerely, WarGaming. So, the speculation certainly rises from the fact that, well, for starters, Juggernauts is now kind of part of WarGaming history now, and as part of many, not many, but significant announcements. Is this going to be as significant as 6.0? Well, while 6.0 certainly has some influence on this, we'll have to see. Because right now, this is just a minor announcement. Maybe we'll get a little bit more at Tankfest, because Friday's developers stream pretty much just repeated that part of where they're transferring the assets, the developing from Chicago to Europe, which, considering these interesting economic times, in some ways makes sense if they're shutting down the Chicago team, or they're just taking the primary developing away from Chicago, still keeping them on as a satellite team to just basically help with the basics developing of the game, working on secondary assets or anything behind the scenes internal wise. Don't know. There's so much speculation now. Just enough to keep us something to talk about. I, for one, I'm leaning towards that. I'm going to be more positive than some of the more down or blatantly aggressive content creators on YouTube, which is just the other two, and try not to fall into the trap of negativity that is now pervading YouTube videos, no matter what content. But then again, and as part of consolidating, it could be just straight up shutting everything down, moving everything to Europe. Let's hope a certain world leader doesn't decide to expand their ongoing conflict from one nation that this game has, specifically World Tanks Modern, has openly supported. Yeah, that's Slava Ukraine, because that when I thought about that, when I said that, I'm like, gee, I know not everything's literally in one building because they have teams around Europe. And this certainly allows for easier communication if everyone's in the same or very close to being in the same time zone, which I know can be a real pain trying to talk to anyone here in America versus anyone in Europe. Vastly different time zones makes team meetings a pain in the butt. So, but yeah, I was like, yeah, not quite putting all your eggs in one basket, but I still felt like, yeah, as long as everything doesn't get worse. Right? Shit. So, aside from that, there's not much else to say. It's like, okay, for the game, No actual signs that they're shutting down the servers or anything like that, because in all honesty, World of Tanks Modern Armor is doing really well. There's new players. Obviously, you can tell that the whales are keeping this game going. Every time you start up a new game after a new tank has been released or something, there's a pretty good flood of very expensive tanks, so for better or worse. And it's one of those things like, what does Europe want to do? We don't know, and we can't say until probably end of 2026 or more into 2027. Because I know I've said it a couple times, and I'm sure I know Catbox Danny. Check her out. She's got some videos on World of Tanks Modern Armor and War Thunder. That we both agree that there is the basis of a really good game here, which is also the problem, because certainly 6.0 derailed some things, and somewhat from what I've learned from Riggy's videos, like, okay, well, Pain God, who was the original like executive producer, was like, he threw himself on the sword and was like, before he announced his retirement, he was like, yeah, when it came to 6.0, it was one of those things of like, we've got a lot of stuff ready to go. We have things that need to, we do have things that need to be done, but also it's time for a new direction for the game, and we need to do something. We have everything. We have things that can go in right now, and like, you push the button and went. For better or worse, whether or not it stepped on the toes of, well, I'm pretty sure it may have stepped on the toes of Daddy WarGaming, because the 6.0 certainly redirected this game away from any semblance to World of Tanks PC, which, in all fairness, you can't say World of Tanks Blitz is like World of Tanks PC either way, so it's on a different platform, so why can't it be different from the other products? Variety is the spice of life, and diversification ensures financial security, for my little tip there. So, I do feel, though, that this means making changes in the game may take a little less time if everyone is, just a phone call away, or down the hall, or down the street from the other team, and it's like, hey, we got a problem. So, that's about that. I do think, though, if the Chicago team shuts down, here comes my American bias, I think it sucks, because that's what I love about World of Tanks Modern Armor. It is not completely an American game, but it supports my fellow countrymen and women, so my pride does kind of dictate some of my feelings about this game, so you may not want to trust me fully on this, but that is how I feel about it. And at the same time, when Bam and Zots talked about this, I'm rambling on. This is just a fun video. No one is to take down any names and dox anyone, send any messages, report anyone, okay? This is just a misunderstanding that resulted in one of my teammates being a jerk, and I responding by being like, you know what? Let's have a jerk off and see who's the bigger jerk. In all honesty, it was one of those things that also, spoilers, despite their best efforts, we won. Anyway, enjoy the stupidity. It would suck if Chicago did shut down, but at the same time, Zots and Bam may have had really good poker faces when they discussed this, but they didn't seem to bum out about it. Then again, we're more used to video game companies just being shut down and then the announcement coming versus, hey, everyone, we're going to share this little bit of information that this team is being restructured. And a lot of the times that means that it's just shutting down, they're fired, here's your pink slip, and a box for your stuff. But if they still get a year to work, and maybe, you never know, and we probably will not know if there might be some sort of golden parachute for the team that just took a game from nothing, made into something, broke / ruined the game, then fixed the game, kind of redeeming themselves, but it maybe they could do that, or it could just be a satellite development team being much more minor, but still part of the WarGaming. Don't know, but I don't see it as, I'm not coming at this as vengeful, like, because in all honesty, 6.0 hurt a lot of players. I got that, and I'm repeating myself here now. But for me, with the inception of World War II mode, or with the inception of Cold War mode, bringing variety and different tanks that World of Tanks PC is deathly afraid to include in any way, shape, or form. Obviously with tier 11. And definitely leaning into this is now a straight up well, maybe not straight up, but more of a like 90% arcade tank simulator. No, less simulator, more arcade tank game. So, to all the players who are going on about the armor thickness of chieftains and stuff, you might want to go to the War Thunder forums, because this is going to be more about fun and enjoyment than it is about being anal about armor thickness and track tension and overall penetration. It's more of a generalization. But at the same time, I don't know who's been doing the skins for some of these things, but some of these tanks are, in the last 2 years, have been looking, the more custom premium tanks have been looking awesome. Although maybe a tempering down of OP tanks, but it's WarGaming. If they're not selling you a war chest, they're selling you an OP premium, or a discounted mediocre tank. Either way, you're poor rich or rich poor. Take your pick. And I think, am I nervous? A little bit, but we won't know more until Tankfest. So, comment down below. Are you concerned that this is the end of World of Tanks Modern Armor together, or are we going to see a proper separation of World of Tanks World War II mode here, and then have a separate Modern Armor game? I don't know. But I've said a lot about Heat, World of Tanks Heat, and I don't think that's I'll save that for the next time they redo a beta, and I'll talk about the video there. Anyway, I hope you keep your checks on the ground, RNG's in your favor, and I'll catch you in the next one. Goodbye.